Hey, Redheads and everyone else listening. Welcome to the How to Be a Redhead podcast.
We're so excited about today because we're talking about two really important topics. We're talking about being a redhead guy, and we're talking about specifically women who decide to dye their hair red, and perhaps they come from a redhead family. So we have two very special people, Lydia and Josh, and we will go into detail about why we chose them to be here today.
Yes, they are very special.
They're so awesome. Growing up as a redhead, I feel like it really, like, you remember it your whole life. Like when you're older, I remember a lot of things growing up.
Right.
And I know we get a lot of questions about being a redhead guy and what it's all about.
And we don't talk about being a redhead guy a lot on howtobearedhead.com, but we do hear stories a lot from redhead males, mothers, aunts who have redheaded boys in their family about how the struggle is. And I'll never forget what that one hairdresser in New York City told us about growing up with red hair and being a guy. Remember in England? What he said that he got rocks thrown at him and was really,
in England,
really
the bullying
bullied.
is very serious. It's not like in America now. It's like cool to be a ginger. Like I think that it's like cool, but maybe like the thing about being a redhead, even if you're a girl or a guy, you get targeted because you look so different. It's like any minority, right? You get targeted because you don't like fit in, and so I think it kind of helps you in your life in certain ways.
And I think too, a lot of redhead men in the pop culture, like Ed Sheeran, everyone loves him. I think he's hot.
Totally. And so one of my really good friends, Andrew, actually, his husband is from London, and he's a redhead. His name is Ken.
Oh.
And he's so sweet. And actually, he always says with his accent, the Hot 100, hot.
Yeah, he does.
He always like says that. And I think the Hot 100 was this redhead guy in London.
Thomas Knight.
Who started photography about redhead men.
And now does calendars and exhibits, I think all throughout the world, but it started in England, and the guys are pretty sexy.
And I think that was the purpose of it, right? Like the purpose of it was to make people be like, I think now people see redhead men and they're like, oh my God, they're so attractive, like Prince Harry.
Yes. Prince Harry, especially during the royal wedding a few months ago, everyone was just talking about him. Obviously, Meghan is gorgeous, but curious to see if they have redhead kids. He's awesome. And then you have, Homeland guy, Damian Lewis, and who else? There's just so many, I feel like redhead men.
I know that a lot of people don't favor him, but I love him. Conan OBrien.
Yes.
I find him to be so funny.
He is hilarious.
And he loves his red hair. Like when Julianne Moore was on his episode or on his show, they talked about being redheads. Like it's such like a big deal when you sit down next to someone else and you're like, oh, I'm also a redhead. So,
yeah. And a lot of celebrities have redhead kids, so that's cool to see too.
Yeah.
Even if they maybe aren't redheads.
Yeah. I agree. And then so another big part about how to be a redhead, by the way, men do write into us all the time asking for advice. So if you are a guy listening and you have a question, feel free to always write us. But we also talk about how we are so open to people, redheads by choice, always asking questions, always being a part of the community because it's important.
And really quick, if you're listening and you don't maybe know what by choice is, so we termed that when we started How to Be a Redhead. So that's basically when you're not born a redhead, but you have the fiery personality. You are meant to be a redhead, even though you weren't born a redhead.
Maybe
you may
come
have
from
a family of redhead. You have the complexion of a redhead, even though redheads have all different complexions. But maybe you have a lot of freckles and you choose to dye your hair, whether it's from a box or henna, or you go get it professionally done. So that's why we call it by choice, because you're choosing to be a redhead. And we have a ton of followers, subscribers for the H2 Bar Box that are by choice redheads, and they're a large part of our community. So that's why we decided to do a podcast and talk all about it.
Yeah, I think like being a redhead man and being a redhead by choice are two categories where people always write in and they're like, am I able to get any advice? And so you definitely can.
And really, what's really cool too is, and we've done articles on this, a lot of men, and you may know some, have brown hair or blonde hair but have a redhead beard. And we see that a lot. And that's basically where you have the gene of a redhead, but only on one side. So you don't have it on both sides to give you red hair on your head, but it's a lot on your beard. So I see men all the time that have a red beard and they may have kind of sort of blondish or brown hair. So that's really common too. And hey, you're a redhead, especially if you're bald and you're rocking a red beard.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I think now is a really great time to bring out our guests. They're really, really special people.
I'll let Adrienne do the introduction because these are two of her family. Well, you married.
Yeah, my married and family.
The H2 Bar Box, a monthly beauty subscription box for redheads. Each box is worth $80 plus, and each product is redhead friendly approved.
Head to h2barbox.com to subscribe and use code podcast to receive 20% off. So first I want to introduce my sister-in-law, Lydia. When I first met her, I think she was a brunette and a blonde. And then she grew up with a redhead mom. My husband, her brother is a redhead. And Strawberry Blonde is definitely with the other sisters. There's 5 total sisters. And then Josh, my husband. And Lydia decided that she wanted to be a redhead. And she'll talk all about why and how many years she's been a redhead. And our other guest is my husband. I married someone who has red hair, and his name is Josh. We've been married 6 years, and I always told Stephanie I would never marry anyone with red hair because I was like, I don't know why I didn't think
your
that
brother
I would.
and sister.
I didn't think I would, and then I met Josh, and the first thing he ever told me was I have red hair too. But it was kind of like Strawberry Blonde. He had a very short haircut, and I didn't think he was, and I was like, that's kind of a weird introduction.
Yeah, it was kind of blonde when I first met him.
Yeah. So anyway, we have Lydia and Josh here. Guys, say hey.
Hi guys, how are you?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're so pumped. We are going to ask you a lot of great questions. And first, I think we should talk to Lydia.
Yeah.
And tell us why your journey into becoming a redhead. How long was it? Were you thinking about it?
So like I grew up in a redhead family. I mean, our mom has red hair and it was so beautiful in high school. And of course we've seen pictures through the years. Josh has red hair and my other sisters have strawberry blonde hair. That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
But for me and my older sister, Kelly, we had like this really like muted strawberry blonde hair. And I always never felt like it was me. And so I just started like dyeing my hair a lot. Like bleach blonde, brown, like when I met you, it was brown or something. And then I had this opportunity to dye my hair red. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror after it happened. I was like, wow, that's me. That's who I am.
Totally, because your features are so much like a redhead. Like she has blonde eyebrows.
Yeah.
You have blonde eyelashes.
You have a lot of beautiful freckles.
I'm covered in freckles.
Yeah,
like
so
head to toe.
She looks completely natural. Like it was totally meant to be.
Yeah, like so many people, they're like, oh, it's natural, right? And I'm like, actually, I dye it. But, and I always tell them the box number because I want them to feel like if they want to be a redhead, they could have the same feeling I feel when I'm a redhead.
Right.
So I always tell them the box.
What's the box number?
L'Oreal 6R.
6R. Okay.
Warm.
And you just buy it at home with the box.
And I just dye it like every 3 weeks.
How long does the process take when you do dye it at home?
Maybe a half hour.
Okay.
I don't want it to stay in too long because then it looks like too dark.
And then after you dye it, do you use any color depositing shampoos or anything to kind of prolong the color?
Yeah, I use glosses a lot. I forget the name of it. Gem
Lights by
Lights.
Celeb Luxury.
Yeah,
They're in
yeah.
H2 Bar Box. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love my H2 Bar Box, guys. I love it because like the eyebrow pencils are like golden.
Yeah.
Especially because I have really blonde eyebrows. So like if I didn't color them in, I would look like a ghost.
I know.
So
I know. And Lydia,
gold.
you guys, she helps pack the boxes every month.
Yeah.
So she is always there, and it's so good to have her because sometimes Stephanie and I aren't together, and I can run ideas by Lydia, and I'm like, would you want this in the box? Or like, it's
and I'm
so
like,
good.
yes.
Yeah. And it's so great too because when we do have a product in the box that's like good to color depositing shampoo, Adrienne has never touched her hair. I use color depositing shampoos on my hair. And then we always give Lydia products to try because a lot of our subscribers, like we said before, are by choice redhead. So it's important for us and we're happy. I mean, so it really helps your hair to use a color depositing.
Tremendously. Like
Yeah.
it's a permanent staple in our tub. Like it's always there. We always
And I
put
have
it
a
in.
really good question. I think a lot of people, they're afraid to stand out once they dye their hair red, right? Because like
for sure.
you had blonde and so you kind of like.
I mean,
mix
I
in with
love
everyone
to
else.
stand out though.
Lydia is so tall. How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
You're 5'11", and I feel like a lot of women wouldn't have the confidence to do that. So where did you how do you feel so
Yeah, you
confident?
exude so much confidence.
I feel like since becoming a redhead, I have more confidence. Just because it does fall in suit of who I am now. Like I am feisty. I am, I'm going to tell my opinion how it is. And like, it just became easier when you have the right hair color to match your personality, I think, for me.
Yeah.
So
and
on
you
your-
look good. So you
Yeah, I look really good. Thanks, guys.
I have a random question. On your license, what does it say for your hair color?
Funny thing, on my license, I have brown hair. On my passport, I have blonde hair. But so whenever I go up to like having to use those things, I'm always like, I dye my hair red, but don't I look good?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, red works for you. I'm like, thank you, I agree.
And then if you see another redhead on the street, out in public where you live in Wilmington, North Carolina, do you kind of look at another redhead like a secret club kind of thing?
Absolutely. And like, I feel so in part, like the redheads just embraced me.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, because a lot of them think I am natural because my freckles, but they like, I get the head nod, when I'm walking down the street and I give it right back. And then sometimes I tell them about how to be a redhead, actually a lot, all the time. I was in Vegas recently and I was talking to this girl about how to be a redhead and she knew all about it and loved it. So.
Oh, that's so
Talking
great.
about it.
We
It is
love
a
to hear that.
community.
It is.
So anyway, Lydia's brother, my husband is Josh, and he's here too.
Josh is the older brother.
Yeah.
He's the older brother, yeah. And there's Kelly ahead of you.
Yeah, there's one above me, but other than that, there's
And your
four
beard,
below.
your beard is really red right now.
It is. I did that special for you guys today.
And I just want to say though, being married to you for so long, you were really proud of being a redhead.
Yeah, I was
always
really
have been.
disappointed when you were like, "Yeah, I don't think you're that much of a redhead," and I was like, okay."
No, you really are. You are a redhead.
You totally are. You had the blue eyes. You and Lydia, you both have the same like eyebrows, eye color.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fair skin.
And our mom was the most proud redhead of all from like 1950 on. So
Yeah, she really had long auburn hair.
And that must mean too, your dad, he has dark hair, but he has to have the red gene.
actually, ironically, I don't know if either of you guys know this, but my dad was born with red hair. And
Our dad?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And
the man you never knew.
yeah, I guess all my sisters didn't know this too. So he had like reddish hair, and then it turned jet black when he turned 6.
I've heard about that in Ireland.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who they go black.
And his beard comes in like a weird red black. But my grandma said just one day it was like a darker brunette, or not brunette, but
Auburn.
darker auburn. And then one day it just went completely black. But he was called the Redhead.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
He's very proud of that. He'll let you know.
I mean, he didn't let me know.
So that's a.
So tell me, I've heard your stories, and I feel like a lot of people, like when they get out of that stage of bullying, I don't feel like they want to ever talk about it. I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, it's behind you, you're doing this and this, you're older now, who cares? But I feel like you are very honest about how you grew up and the bullying that you had, because you had very, very bright red hair growing up.
Yeah, from the age of like 1 to 15, I was your stereotypical, like bright red hair, burned. My skin was always burnt crisp. I was your,
God.
I was your blue-eyed red hair guy that people would kind of pick on, and then finally around the age of 14 or 15, my dad was like, you need to like start working out, or you got to start doing something because you can't get picked on your whole life. And I said, you know what? You're right.
But what was it like to be picked on? Like what grade? What happened?
Sixth grade was the worst, I would say. I went to a new school.
Sixth grade. You remember
Sixth grade.
that
I
grade?
remember it vividly.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you in sixth grade? Are you 10, 11?
No, I think you're 11.
It was 1997.
Okay.
Wow. So very pivotal year.
Very
oh my God, you know
pivotal
the
year.
date.
We moved from Virginia Beach up to New York, and I was starting middle school, and I had the like bright red hair, and our uniform was khakis with a white shirt, not
Flattering.
not flattering for a very pale kid. And I didn't want to stand out at all. However, that was just
Especially your personality.
I didn't want to stand out.
You aren't like Lydia in that way. Whereas Lydia, I feel like you're a lot more outgoing than
Oh
Josh.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially him when he was younger. He was not. I had to order his pizza.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I mean, from like kindergarten through fifth grade, there was no problems. But middle school, something went wrong. But I think that was during the time of like late 1990s when people just started picking on people with red hair or other things.
Bullying was a lot
Worse. There was no social media. It was in your face. I mean,
right.
it was stuff you don't forget. I mean, whatever. It just happened. But
So what happened? What was your reaction then? And then what was your reaction when you figured out what to do?
the reaction then was kind of tough. Like I was just kind of getting picked on, and I would just kind of turn away and walk away or stuff like that. They called me the redhead, redneck, because we had just moved from Virginia Beach. And what else had happened? I mean, it was
You moved from Virginia Beach to New York.
to New York.
Yeah.
So all these like New York people were like, "Oh, you're from the South and you have red hair," and I'm like, "I'm actually a military brat, but okay." And
Before that, you guys were in Germany.
Germany, yeah, and didn't get picked on in Germany, at all.
Oh, interesting.
No, and then my initial reaction was just to kind of ignore it, put it off, and then I don't know. My dad gave me some good advice to start just sticking up for myself, and so that's what I started doing. And then in high school,
So
I
you
started.
would just tell the bullies like, stop, or I mean, no violence.
It wasn't it wasn't
Yeah.
violent, but I was just very like, hey, listen, like I'm not going to take this anymore.
You stuck up for yourself.
Yeah, I started to stick up for myself, and the minute I did that, things started to change in my life with regards to bullying.
And then how was high school in New York? Now
High
you're
school in New York, I went to a public school. I would say it was bad. Yeah, I freshman and sophomore year before I became like really good at sports, I would say that.
And he got popular.
Yeah.
He was very popular.
I was definitely picked on. Like, then, typical questions, does the hair match the drapes, that whatever that concept is.
Yeah.
And it was just your typical public school bullying. And, I ignored it. And then finally I just was like, I'm done. So I put my foot down, I guess.
And then do you still hear remarks later in life after high school into college? How was that?
Yeah, honestly, now that you're bringing it all up, I guess I did have it in college too. It's anywhere I go for the first time. I think this happens with many redheads, specifically men. When you go somewhere for the first time, whether it's a new college, a new school, a new job, you stick out. Mm-hmm. So until they realize you're not a pushover, they're going to kind of pick on you just because they're probably insecure. Maybe they're jealous. Who knows? Maybe, those were the things. And then after year one or year two, that just fades because I just didn't put up with it. But that would be advice that I would have for like younger redhead guys that are going through it. Just, weather the storm a little bit. They just want to feel better about themselves. And then they realize it doesn't affect you. So then they stop.
So has it prepared you? So now you're in real estate
Mm-hmm.
and you work on houses every day. Has that bullying prepared you if it ever comes up now you're 32?
I would laugh kind of in their face and be like, dude, like, I don't know what you want me to say. It really has, I guess it has prepared me. If we had kids, like if Adrienne and I had kids and they had redheads, I would have a strict policy that they should go by.
What if they're a female?
Oh, I would be very protective.
I know you would. Would your advice to them be the same?
Yeah, it would be
giving
exactly
guys?
the same.
Okay.
Like weather the storm, be nice, smile, look the other way. They have insecurity issues, obviously, if they're picking on like a little redhead. And that, it's on them, not you.
Yeah.
We always say that too, Adrienne. You're always saying if a bully comes up to you, just say, "I love my red hair," and then they're just gonna go to someone else and pick on someone else. Because what are they gonna do?
They love when you feel insecure about it. Then they can keep picking on you.
Yeah,
about that.
but if you just stand up and say, "I love my red hair," they're just gonna look at you and then go on to the next person.
That was my one problem, that I was too nice. I mean, you shouldn't be a mean person, but I was too nice to some of these people. I would just like, oh, you know.
Did you say sorry to them?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Josh is a big sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I would be like, hey, listen, I'm sorry you feel that way. You know, and then I would kind of just move on. But I remember it very vividly.
So you love your red hair now?
I do. I always have.
Yeah.
I always have, and
It suits you so well.
Yeah, it goes with me. I've been called Prince Harry before.
You look like it.
And
Don't tell me that. I love Prince Harry.
It's so
That's
funny.
my brother.
My mom loves it. During the royal wedding,
We talk,
Yeah.
her and I together about how we think you're so handsome.
We're going to have to post photos of both of you, Lydia and Josh. That way, the people listening in can see what we're looking at right now.
yeah. And your mom. We'll have to get a photo of you guys.
And your dad.
Yeah. Well,
Mikey.
I gotta find the baby pictures, but you'll laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some things on a beauty level? I know that shaving, you're very sensitive. What are some things being a redhead you feel like maybe you struggled with in the past and now you're working on it, or you're still struggling with when it comes to being a redhead with sensitive skin?
Being a redhead with sensitive skin, things I struggle with are getting burnt. I wore t-shirts in the pool like till I was in high school, just mostly because I was afraid to get burnt. Shaving, sensitive skin, my neck would break out all the time, and I never ever figured it out till I married Adrienne. You know, that's very strategic of me to marry one of the How to Be a Redhead sisters.
To get you on a strict regimen.
Yes. And she was like, what are you doing with this? You need to buy this. You need to do that. And that kind of helped change a lot of things. I don't break out now.
You moisturize a lot.
Moisturize a lot.
You use a lot of oils.
Oils.
He loves retinol.
Retinol, PCA skin.
Their retinol is awesome.
I haven't bought any products in my whole life because I had sisters and then I married Adrienne. So I still like when I go in the only thing I buy for is just deodorant.
And vitamins.
Yeah, deodorant and vitamins.
Oh, your vitamins.
Yeah, because your skin looks great now.
Thank you. Yeah, it usually just PCA skin stuff in the morning and
Sunscreen throughout the day.
yeah,
You do wear a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah, I'm
It's in your
outside a
truck
lot.
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's always been.
Do you
helpful.
reapply?
Not like I should.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But you always have it with you though.
I always do have it with me, but I don't honestly like if I put it on a couple times a day, I'm better. When I was in the Army, though, you really didn't have time to like stop and put on sunscreen, and that probably aged me pretty.
But in the Army, if you don't wear sunscreen and you get burned,
You get in trouble. You
get
actually,
in trouble.
It's called UCMJ. So
Oh, yeah. So Josh was in the Army.
yeah.
What?
I
You were
was in
stationed in Fayetteville.
Fayetteville, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where if you're a redhead and you get a sunburn, you can get in trouble.
And what was your platoon?
I was in the infantry. I was
Okay.
in Delta Company in 3rd Brigade, 82nd Airborne Division. So I was a paratrooper, and it was a good time.
Were you the only redhead in your platoon?
You know what? There was a kid underneath me who was like, honestly, he was picked on. And when I got there, he was getting picked on, and he was 18, like fresh out of high school. I was 26 at the time, so I'd gone to college. I had a little bit more experience in life, and I was like, dude, stop getting picked on. I was like, all these bullies are just like picking on you, and you let it happen. His name was Private Avent, and he now is like a sergeant, has a kid, and is like. But I saw what was happening to me when I was younger, and just because he was nice and looking away and putting his head down, and I finally was like, dude, like, do yourself a favor and say something. And when he did, things started changing for him. So
That's great.
That's really, really good. Were you picked on when you first got in the military? I don't remember.
in boot camp, they tried, but then they
Yeah.
realized I was like not one to get picked on. So.
Josh was number 1 soldier of the cycle.
Yeah, but
He was-
yeah, I mean,
Nah,
Agreed.
that was a proud wife moment right there, Adrienne.
You were. Lydia was there.
It was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no hair to even tell that I was a redhead.
No, you
But
were
you
shaved
like the
and
complexion. I remember seeing photos.
Yeah.
Even though your hair was and your beard was all shaved.
You have the
Everything
freckles.
was shaved.
Yeah.
I looked like I was in jail. So I mean,
Boot camp
but
life.
people could tell that I was a redhead, but people did not. Even the drill sergeants, they did not mess with me because if you show that weakness, and that's what I told that kid when I first got to the 82nd. I was like, dude, you're gonna get picked on your whole time in the Army.
And then this is really random. Going to college, you played football, and Matt. So Matt is Josh's one of his best friends from college. Does he consider himself a redhead?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a-
Very
Yeah.
proud of it.
If he
Oh,
listens to
okay.
this,
I didn't know that.
He would definitely be like, Stephanie, I'm a redhead.
Okay, so you two were on the
Two
football
gingers.
team
Yeah.
and two redheads. Did
Two
you guys
gingers.
get
Yeah, we
called names? I don't know. 'cause
not
you-
at all. I mean, literally, there was times where he played defense, I played defense, and I remember one play we crushed this quarterback, and like the kid got up and he was like he cursed, and ended it with gingers.
That's really funny.
And I was like, how does he know that? I think mostly because our legs, like we had,
Oh, yeah, you're fair.
Oh,
and
because you
they-
had helmets on.
We had helmets
Yeah.
on, and so they saw us during the coin flip and stuff like that. That we had red features and red
Oh
hair.
my gosh.
I actually had a red mohawk in college.
He was intense. It was
Really?
a very intense.
I was
time
proud
in
of-
his red
I was
hair
proud of
aesthetic.
the whole my red hair. So
That's really great. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm sure you'll be back. And we'll do more episodes about redhead guys or being a redhead by choice. And
Yeah, maybe we can have one on with Brian. Brian's my husband, and
Yeah.
do one on being married to redheads.
yeah,
That would be a good one.
run and hide. Literally. No, I'm just kidding. I love them. It's great.
Okay, love you guys.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
The H2 Bar Box, a monthly beauty subscription box for redheads. Each box is worth $80 plus, and each product is redhead friendly approved.
Head to h2barbox.com to subscribe and use code podcast to receive 20% off. Wow, I'm so happy we had them on.
Oh my God, they're so great.
I know. And I feel like all those conversations I've heard about Josh when we're always in the car and he talks about it. So, and I'm always like, wow, I would really love for our followers to hear your story because I feel like he has a really telling story about being bullied.
Yeah, and I think it's so great to get different perspectives on being a redhead because, of course, we're both natural redheads. So it's so great to have Lydia on, who's a by choice, and Josh, who's a male and
Right.
who is a natural redhead.
Right. And I think like the whole, like if we could say one word to like wrap up this whole episode, it was confidence.
I was
think
just
that
gonna
they
say
both-
that.
They both have so much confidence, and that's what it's all about.
And I think, too, if you're listening in and maybe you're experiencing bullying or lack of confidence, just know that you were born or by choice that you have this beautiful red hair and to always rock it and own it. And if you're getting bullied, just stick up to the bully and be like, I love my red hair.
Yeah.
What are they going to say?
Yeah. And time goes by so quick that those times in your life when you're younger seem like they're stalling. It seems like it's, oh my God, it's going to be like this forever. But it goes by. And like Josh said, he's kind of happy that it happened because now he's so much stronger and it would never happen now in his life.
Right.
Whereas if you didn't experience it growing up, it might happen when you're an adult and that could even be worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think now, I mean, he loves being a redhead, exudes so much confidence. And I think he needed to go through that in life to realize how much he loves his red hair and who he is
Right.
as a
And
person.
how about how men can use beauty products?
I know.
Yeah, I think a lot of men feel like they can't use a moisturizer or
Oils,
retinol or
serums.
something. And
Right.
Yeah. And colored positing shampoo. I think we learned from Lydia that it is really important to learn how to enhance your red hair and to keep it looking vibrant.
Right. Love it.
Love it. Okay, well, we will talk to you guys on the next episode.
Rock it like a redhead.